HadesOmega here, and today I got my 1998 Mitsubishi Eclipse. I'm doing a little show and tell on it. So I've had this car for almost like a decade now, and here's the story of like why I got it and how I got it. So I used to have, this is actually my second Eclipse, the second gen Eclipse too. I used to have a 1995 Eclipse RS, the base model Eclipse, and I turbocharged it. Like I went all out on it, and then I couldn't get it to pass smog. So I decided to buy the turbo version, the GST. And so I was shopping for a car, and I found this car on Craigslist, and it was in LA, and I'd found it on eBay actually for a cheaper price. So I bid on it, and I don't think I want to buy another car on eBay. This guy, he didn't disclose like all the problems with the car. But anyway, I got this is the first time I ever done this. I got a Greyhound ticket to LA, and I met the dude in Glendale, California. It's basically LA, and he picked me up in my car, and then I bought it from him. He worked at like a Kia dealership or something. He was some Armenian guy, and I drove it home. It made it home, no problem. And I had a couple mods on it. It had like an intake, exhaust, like a muffler only. It had a sound system. Had some 18-inch wheels, and yeah, I wound up getting rid of most of that. But the biggest problem with the car is like the interior was messed up. Like these door cards are all messed up. I had to get new ones. Oh, what else was wrong with this guy? The shifter was like all loose and stuff. It had some kind of like cheap eBay copy short shifter on it. I replaced it with a different one I found at the junkyard, and yeah, like the oil pressure gauge didn't work. It was missing some the side skirts. Side skirts were missing for some reason. And yeah, so he told me he'd replace this fender and this fender, and oh, not fender, the bumper, because I got in an accident and apparently didn't fix it. I guess maybe the back was messed up too, because I could never get this thing to align properly, the back. So what I wanted to have to do is I guess the camber was messed up. The rear cross member needed to be replaced. I replaced it with a different one, and I was able to align it. I don't even now. Well, yeah, it's an old car. It's got 225,000 miles. I had it since it's 212. I don't really drive it all that much. I kind of just use it to commute to drill every month. I'm in the Army National Guard, and yeah, it works good for that. So yeah, it was it's kind of like somebody else's mistakes I was fixing. So also I remember the motor mount had like the guts coming out of it, so I had to replace the motor mounts. So, but basically I swapped most of the parts over from my RS to this car. So this is like the last legacy of my first car, the Eclipse RS. Also, I'd like to add that the clear coat on the top of this car is all pretty much coming off. It's got like cancer. You can see it. The black Mitsubishi paint is horrible. If you buy Mitsubishi, do not get a black color, because it will not last. The clear coat will not last. It'll just chip off, and it's not just the Eclipse. It's like all of them. Even the newer cars. The hood, I don't have an excuse for that. It's also this is a TCS Sportline hood. I got it from some guy in like Gilroy or something. It's a nice hood. The gel coat has come off though, so it's kind of dull now. But it's very light, and it latches on pretty good too. The bumper is the only thing that's still shiny, and this fender, the parts that they replaced. Maybe this door too. This door looks door's still in good shape. But I actually thought about like plasti dipping my whole car, because the paint was all crappy, and black plasti dip is easy to find. But I'm never gonna buy another black car after this car. I'm just gonna get white cars from now on. The black paint just doesn't last, you know. So let's get to the mods. What kind of mods do I have on this guy? So as you know, the second gen Eclipse is probably the best generation of the Eclipse. It's because it came with the inline 4 turbo. And this is the last generation to come with the inline 4 turbo. Before they went to like the 6 cylinders for the performance models. So let's go pop the hood here. So what do we have under the hood here? So there it is. There it is. It's the 4G63. Got it nice and cleaned up for this video. And so here's some of the basic mods. I've got a KaNaDE FIPK intake. It stands for Fuel Injection Performance Kit. I can't believe I remember that. But it's supposedly the best intake you can get, and also it what is it? It's a carb legal. That's an important thing. It has an eBay intake pipe, and it has an Evo 3 16G. It's a genuine Mitsubishi turbo. TDO 5H. It has a 1G install kit on it. It has a Reach racing radiator. I've installed a Gallant alternator in it. It has more amperage. And what else? It has a Pexi copy front mount intercooler. So this one still kind of like routes through the side over there. It's a pretty big intercooler. And it has a full catback exhaust. It's a stainless steel. It's an Apexi N1 copy. Let's see it. It's kind of dirty under there. There's some piping under. It's running on E85 now with PTE 1000cc injectors. So it's gonna be kind of hard to see the injectors. They're in there. Those are 1000, rated at 1000 cc. So stock is 450. So I've nearly doubled the flow rate. And the way I control those is with ECU Flash. It's a program that you can use to reprogram the stock ECU. So that's how I can get this car to pass smog. So yeah, those are my tuning. That's my tuning philosophies after my first Eclipse. I put as many mods as I can on the car to get as much power without sacrificing the ability to still pass smog. So I have actually smogged this with E85 and gasoline, and it passed the sniffer. So pretty awesome. So what the ECU Flash lets me do is it lets me change the injector flow rate, so it'll compensate and run properly with these larger injectors. And what else? So I have a PC680 battery. It's supposed to be lighter and smaller. It's kind of like a Honda battery. It's a good battery. This car has like a draw problem on it. I don't know what's causing it. It'll eat up the battery if I leave it for a couple days. It has a Prothane motor mounts. This is the one I said like the guts are coming out of it. That definitely will not get messed up. There's another one hiding under there. There's one over here, and there's one behind the engine. So keep the engine from flopping around. These front wheel drive engines, they really have put a lot of torque on the motor mounts. Actually, this came with the car, 1G blow off valve. That's probably the best bang for the buck blow off valve for this, and it's recirculated, and it has a RE upper intercooler pipe, just like it came with this car stock, so that's good. So this is my tuning tool here. It's a Tactrix little programmer dealie that lets you use ECU flash to flash the ECU. Just plug that in the OBD2 port and it'll flash it. With you have to have an extra connector too to plug into the flash port. And I have these two USB cords here. So I can one of them is so I can flash the ECU, and one of them actually is like a serial cable. It goes to a serial cable, connects to my Eisouyouga air fuel ratio meter here. This is actually, it's a wideband O2 sensor, and it's set up to emulate a narrowband signal. So and it's wired straight to my ECU. So that way it directly that way I only have to use one O2 sensor, and like the stock O2 sensor is like it's strapped to the bottom of the car somewhere, still plugged in, but it's not providing any O2 signal to the car because it'll trip a check engine light if it doesn't say it's there, you know. But yeah, it uses a wideband and it emulates a narrowband signal, so it's a little more accurate than your stock O2 sensor, and I could use this to tell me like what my air fuel ratio is. I can use it in a data logger to tune the car, but I'm not very good at tuning the car, so I'm gonna have to get this take it somewhere, have somebody flash it. And since we're in the interior right now, I've got a HKS Type 1 turbo timer, autometer boost gauge. It goes up to like 20 psi. I don't really want to boost more than 20. I've got a KaNaDE steering wheel here. It has a removable energy hub on it. I have some Razo pedals. These are from my old Eclipse. Actually, yeah, a lot of these parts are from my old Eclipse. They're like carbon fiber dealies. It makes it easier to heel and toe. That's interesting. I know it does that. And then I have this button here. This gives power to the harness. I have a Scroth auto lock harness back here. So I like driving with the harness. It makes me feel more secure. But the only bad thing about driving with the harness is it locks yourself in so you can't move. So what you gotta do, so right now harness it can move because of the retractor is on. Then you turn the retractor off by pressing this button and it locks it. So like when you're ready to drive, that's when you do it. And like if you need to do something like parking or something where you got to turn your head around or something, just go ahead and unlock it and it'll become loose again. Like that. And you can take it off too. And I just have the stock belt also, so you can pick one. Turn that off. I also have a high-low boost switch here. So this car has two BCS boost control solenoids. Those are the solenoids that control the boost levels. And when it's down like this, it's at stock boost level stock wastegate level, which is like around 10 psi or something. And then when I flip it up and I flip the switch, it's putting out like whatever the manual wastegate, the manual boost controller pressure is, which is set to like 14 right now. It's really conservative. For some reason, I'm getting fuel cut on this car over stock boost levels, but the stock boost level for that 16G is only like 8 or 10 or something. So it's all right. So let's go over the suspension mods. I have quite a few suspension mods. I've got it's kind of been lowered. What I've done is I've raked it. This car used to have Pro kits on it, Eibach Pro kits, but the car is too damn low and I destroyed the bumper on it. This is actually, I just replaced this bumper a couple days ago. The last one was all cracked up, and driving a lowered Eclipse is not practical. But I have some AGX shocks. They're 4-way adjustable. in the front and 8-way in the back. And they're on Skunk 2, it's kind of hard to see, but they're on Skunk 2 coilovers. These are like drag racing springs, so they're really stiff. They're not good for ride quality. The rear has camber adjusters, and I have a front strut bar here, new speed one. I can actually put 2 strut bars on this car since I have this new speed one, but I choose to put the back one because it doesn't get in the way when I work on the engine. And then I have a RE Road Race Engineering front lower tie bar. Kind of see it hanging there. It's not one with that stuff hanging off of it. Stiffens the bottom of the car. And then the rear, I have a Suspension Techniques rear sway bar. It's thicker than stock. You can get all that oversteer because this car understeers like a mofo. And it has a matrix rear tie bar to stiffen up that cross member. And let me open the trunk. The trunk has a DC. I have a DC Sports rear strut bar. It's nice and big and beefy. And yeah, so those are pretty much all the suspension mods I've got on this. And then it's got a sub here in the back. The amp is under that passenger seat. And also when I got this car, like the windshield wiper didn't work, and there's a windshield wiper reservoir under here, and there's like a lot of water damage in the car. I guess it's probably because this stuff gets clogged here, and then like I guess their hose wasn't routed right, and then when it rained, it would the inside would be all yucky and wet. So yeah. Here's another shot of the interior. So yeah, that's it. That's my car. I don't really use it for track events or anything. It's actually very hard to drive this thing with a helmet on because it has a sunroof. It's you have horrible headroom, so I'm gonna have to figure something out about that. I'd like to try to maybe dyno it. I'm assuming it puts out around 200 wheel horsepower, at least. I hope. It is kind of old though. Here's another shot of the engine. It has it's stock downpipe, stock O2 housing. So it's like the best of what you can do with like the Mitsubishi components, basically. Yeah, so I spent a lot of time working on this car, restoring it. You know, it's a great car to drive. It's just a little old. It's getting up there in the years, and you know. Let's go listen to the engine real quick. That is, you see that I'm able to build boost in neutral. It's set on anti-lag for the ECU settings, and what that does is it retards the timing, so you can build boost while not even moving without load. So that's pretty cool. It really spins the tires though, so you got to be careful. It's only a front wheel drive. I also have a scan gauge 2 here. It's a little gauge you can check the codes with and erase codes. It has so right now I got set to voltage and water temp and gas mileage. It's a pretty neat little gauge. And yeah, so this is what it's like to drive in what it looks like to drive out of a 2G Eclipse. These cars are, they're becoming a classic. There's not too many of them on the road no more. So it runs on E85, and it doesn't get the best gas mileage. Actually, it gets about 18 miles per gallon. Less if I smash on it. So, I like the exhaust. It's not very loud, thanks to the turbo. So, I don't like it too loud, but I don't like it too quiet either. This is the turbo timer. Has some cool functions. Actually tells you RPM here. So you can do like lap times and stuff with it. Tells you your voltage. Pretty neat little dealie. Last walk around. So yeah, this is my car. I hope you've enjoyed it. These cars are Mitsubishi built a lot of these cars, and Mitsubishi's not gonna be selling no more sports cars no more. This is like this is one of their best sports cars that they ever sold, you know. I also want to add that I have a Mishimoto fan here, and I think I moved this fan over here because I just didn't have there's not a lot of room to work with here, so I have to put a smaller fan. And also my timing belt, my timing cam is the timing cam gear is like wobbly. You can see there, it's nice and straight and wobbly. So whatever idiot mechanic worked on this car before, they pried it off with a screwdriver and they bent it. So when I get the timing belt replaced on this, I'm going to put some 1G ones that have better spokes. 2G cam gears are they're just not very stout. That's all I'll say. Yeah, so when I got it, the guy said he changed the timing belt and everything, and he had some valves replaced. So it leads me to believe that the timing belt had snapped on this car before, and it damaged the valves. So, but it runs good. I haven't had any problems with this engine. It's a tough little engine, this 4G63. I don't really drive it too hard, but I don't baby it either, you know. An interesting story about this car is that I battled some supercars on Palomares in this car. Like I was driving back from Hayward, and I said, "Oh, I want to take the fun way back." So I was on my way to Palomares. I ran into these supercars. It was like fucking Ferrari 458 Italia or something, an NSX, and a GTR. And I actually kept up with them on Palomares. My tires were shit. Oh yeah. Also, I want to mention that these are the wheels are these are 5 Ziggin FN01 RCs, and they're in 17x9 plus 35 offset, and they're running 245 45/17. It's a little oversized. So it stretches a little. It's actually a little too narrow for this wheel, but I think it looks good. Just look at that. Look at that. It's meaty. And the brakes on this car are from a Mitsubishi Outlander. It's very similar to the dual piston caliper that comes with the GSX. It's actually the same caliper, but it's been relocated. It's an Outlander caliper, so to move them out, so you can use bigger rotors. And these are dimple drilled and slotted rotors, and it's the same thing with the rear. So this car has very good brakes. It brakes very good, and has some Metal Master pads front and rear. So I like the brakes on this car. They're very good. Maybe too good. One day maybe it'll be at the track. So I hope you've enjoyed my video. This is my car, and I share it with the world. I like to kind of get a newer car, but you know, until I get a house in the garage, this is what I'm going to drive for now. Like I said, I really don't even drive it that much. I either ride a motorcycle or I drive like another car. So, HadesOmega out. So here you go. I'm pumping a E85 into my car. Yeah, my car reeks of alcohol all the time. It's poor gas mileage. But it's cheaper. For high octane, it's $2.45, $2.46. You can see the premium gasoline there. It costs $3.55. I don't know why it costs $3.55 here. It's like $3 everywhere else somewhere. I don't know why. But yep, there we go. That's what it drinks. And it feeds that Evo 3 Turbo. Also, another thing about that Evo 3 Turbo, I don't like it. It's too laggy. I wish I had a. I wish I had my. I used to have a small 16G on this, and it spooled much better. So when I take that turbo out, I'm gonna put a small 16G in to replace it. But I don't know. It's okay for now. Just have to. I have to rev it a lot. I have to go do a lot of second gear revs. But that's also because the wheels are really big on this car. They're actually +1. They're a little bit taller than normal. But it rolls better on the freeway. So that's why I mainly drive this on the freeway. It's a blast to drive on the freeway. I'll tell you that now. Takes the corners pretty good, but I could use some tighter gearing in the corners. So, yep, that's a little more info on HadesOmega's Eclipse GST.